Big Brother, mainstream media, government cover-ups. You want answers? Well, so does he. Live from Austin, Texas, broadcasting worldwide, it's Alex Jones.
We're joined by Joel Skousen, a political scientist by training. He, of course, was also a fighter pilot. We've gone over his bio many, many times here on air. And he is a world-renowned expert on strategic relocation, I guess bunker housing type systems. He publishes the World Affairs Brief. We also sell his book. It's one of our best sellers, Strategic Relocation, the latest edition with all color photos about safest areas in the country. And I've done my own research. I agree with his analysis. So joelskousen.com. And, of course, you can get that all at Infowars.com. We're going to go to break here in about 3 minutes, Joel. Thank you for joining us during the Money Bomb. But out of all the things that are happening right now, just give us a brief summary overall of your take on what's happening. And then we'll come back, get into Iran, the economy, and more.
Well, thank you, Alex. It's really a privilege to be on this very worthy cause, and thanks for the call. Things are really starting to move rapidly. One of the key elements that I saw was this decision to pull out of Iraq when they had no intention of pulling out. They were really stymied by the Iraqi opposition, but I think this Iran war is going to be there. And it's the only reason I could see why they're pushing up all of this propaganda, which lets the Iranians know this is coming very, very soon, and sacrificing military secrecy, which normally accompanies a preemptive strike, so that it's a surprise. We'll talk a little bit more about the background I have on what I think the various parties are up to on this. But we are facing a major crisis right now in the economy because of the European debt situation. Greece has thrown a monkey wrench into the European debt resolution and bailout. The markets are responding extremely negative. And I think what's coming up that we really need to look at and talk about is what's coming up in November when the Super Committee brings out its report relative to the cuts that they're going to propose. I don't think Congress is going to be able to vote for those cuts. The automatic cuts will then trigger in. And I think this Occupy Wall Street movement, even though it's beneficial to our movement in the sense that it's attacking Wall Street, it is a leftist-based organization. And I think that they're going to trigger a great deal of extreme violence and other further unrest when these automatic trigger cuts come in. So far, they really haven't got the wherewithal to do a major escalation of these demonstrations until that November report comes out. So that's coming up this month.
Well, Joel, that's extremely interesting, and I concur with your breakdown. Let's go through all of this on the other side. We've got Joel joining us via Skype from his home. We may go to telephone here in a moment, though, because his audio is really, really low for radio listeners out there. But this will be important information, obviously, straight ahead. My sources are Israel is planning to attack Iran. And I said that 2.5 weeks ago. Now you see them openly saying they want to. So we're proven right again. And we'll get Joel's take on all of this on the other side. We could still stop it, though. Or we'll get Joel's take on it if he thinks we can still stop it. All right, Joel Skousen is our guest for 5 minutes into the next hour. Then Webster Tarpley joins us to give us his geopolitical perspective. Joel, so, wow, this is really news I don't like to hear because I respect your geopolitical analysis and view. Just to get it straight, you're concurring that they pretty much have green-lighted an attack on Iran. How long ago, were you aware of this? And then you were getting into what this means militarily to be announcing it and what the whole point of that is. So please continue.
Well, it's kind of an interesting story, and it's going to be the lead story on the World Affairs Brief coming out this Friday about this really difficult military decision. Now, this story has been green-lighted, or at least the attack on Iran has been green-lighted clear back to 2004. We know that because there was a major break in security in an insider meeting in the city of London that I reported on in the World Affairs Brief, whereby one of the persons who wasn't supposed to be there at the meeting was inadvertently invited And they talked openly about the fact of how displeased the globalists were that Israel had not gone forward in their strike on Iran, and that was clear back in 2004. So this isn't something new. But what's interesting, in 2007, the establishment had to reverse its attack on Iran. They had 3 carrier task force off of Iran ready to do it in the fall of 2007. You were covering that, I was covering that, and all of a sudden they came out with the National Intelligence Estimate, the NIE, which said suddenly that Iran had dropped their nuclear program, they were no longer a threat, and people said, what's going on here? And of course this was because, I believe, and that was my analysis, that Ron Paul, who was the only Republican running in 2008 on a very strong anti-war platform and was gaining popularity fast, the United States knew that they couldn't do a preemptive strike on Iran without engendering a great deal of anti-war feeling in the United States that would accrue to the political benefit of Ron Paul. So suddenly, as soon as Ron Paul was defeated in the nomination process and really manipulated out of the show, suddenly the NIE reversed itself. So go figure. Obviously, they were back on track that Iran is now a threat, and they've been pounding that drum ever since. But we've never seen a crescendo of propaganda and war beating of the drums as we've seen in the last 2 weeks. Every mainstream newspaper is touting all of the Israeli stories about the things that you mentioned going on in the cabinet. This really isn't a matter of strain and negotiation with the cabinet. All of them are on board. And what's interesting, though, is that there's a bunch of propaganda coming out of the U.S. press about the trip of Leon Panetta to Israel, saying that he was going there to stop Iran from this. And that was
You're saying that's a show of deliberation, to act like they thought things through.
Absolutely true, and it's absolutely false. And so was the propaganda that Leon Panetta tried to stop this. He was going there to coordinate U.S. strategy. You go first, we'll come in and finish things up in a big way so that we can take the heat off of Israel.
But they'll need to stage something after. Well, I know I've had family sent to Kuwait. I've talked to others. They're being told Israel will strike, and I don't want to give up too many sources, but they're at least telling mid-level military people that it's on, and before the winter gets too deep. So that's why I said 2.5 weeks ago, I said within 2 weeks, then that's the danger zone. And then now, of course, it's all over the news that they're going ahead with this attack. Joel, is there any way from your view to stop it?
No, I really don't believe so. The only thing that has stopped it up at this point is the failure to get to induce Iran to do or to succumb to a Gulf of Tonkin episode. They tried to do it a couple of years ago when the U.S. Navy went into the Gulf of Hormuz, and they had the Iranian speedboats harassing them, and they came on U.S. black operations on the radio on their frequency, speaking, with Iranian people speaking as if the speedboats were going to attack the U.S. Task force, and the U.S. commander didn't take the bait. He refused to attack the speedboats, and that's what saved us from a Gulf of Tonkin thing. At that point, what I think they're heading for now is coming up this next week is a new UN report. I think it's going to be very negative against Iran. It's going to build up the fact that their nuclear program is going forward. The U.S. will beat the drums for UN increased sanctions. They may try to get the cutoff of gasoline, which ends up being a similar act of war to what produced the Pearl Harbor attack on Japan when Britain cut off their sources of fuel and gasoline to Japan. It's a very similar stress.
Joel, stay there. Long segment coming up. I concur with your analysis, unfortunately. I wish this wasn't what we're moving into. And so I want to look at, if the strike comes, which is probably 95% chance now, barring a miracle, and we saw that with Fox Fallon refused as well, as you said in 2007, 2008. Barring a miracle, then what's going to happen? What do you think the aftermath will be of that? How does China tie in? How does Russia tie in? Stay with us. Monday through Friday from 11 a.m. to 2 p.m. We are here live, back Sundays 4 to 6 p.m. And, of course, weeknights. That's not enough. We're back weeknights, 7 o'clock, InfoWars Nightly News. Why, it's 2 hours long sometime. Soon I'm going to add a few commercials in and get it up to different network specs and button it down. But I'm actually enjoying this whole beta testing phase to figure out what I want to do with the show. I may even use the other set we've got built but hasn't been seen. I'm putting in another voiceover studio right now. I mean, I want to get more reporters. I want to get more hosts. I mean, I've got TV systems I can get on right now. The big dirty secret, though, is you get on a British satellite system. I've got one offering an hour show right now, years ago, offering again. You get on U.S. systems or channel 2000-something on one of the dish systems, you might have 50,000, 100,000 viewers, maybe, if the show's been on for 6-7 months and people get used to it. Again, we have millions and millions a day, and it's growing through the internet and good old-fashioned AM and FM, but also XM, channel 166, which is a lot of people. So what's happening is, basically, I'm developing the TV show. I will package it for TV, so it's formatted that way. And then we'll get it on this cable system, that system, and I think it'll probably end up reaching 4 or 5 million more people a week total if we get on a bunch of different systems. That's just a new audience. They need to be reached. But overall, it's about the investigative journalist teams. It's about the constant news and constant reports and condensing it down to 30 minutes or an hour a night. I haven't really decided yet. I'm leaning towards 30 minutes just so it's quick and easy, but has all the information people need. More of a discipline type format, which is hard for me to do, obviously, because I love knowledge and love information. But we're doing all of this because of you. So if you haven't donated yet at InfoWarsMoneyBomb.com, please do today. Again, NPR gets government money and then begs for money. And nobody says that's wrong. But when people that are patriots do it, there's this system-wide stigma because they're scared of good people giving and pooling our resources together. Look at all the other people I bring on as a platform, all the other activist groups and organizations and the systems we've helped launch, from We Are Change to Ron Paul saying half his first-run support came from this show. He said that here on air 4 years ago. This is an important platform. It's not perfect. In fact, I don't have a high view of myself at the end of the day. I mean, I know we're all fallen creatures, but the message is what is important. Be part of this 4th annual Money Bomb. Help us get the new crew we need, the expanded crew, 3 or 4 more people. Help us, 5 people if we can afford it, and help us get the extra equipment we need to actually syndicate the show now. And by the way, the free streams are at Infowars.com and PrisonPlanet.tv. Right now, you can go to Infowars.com or PrisonPlanet.tv or InfoWarsMoneyBomb.com, and there's the mainstream from our system that's high quality. We've got the backup systems on Justin TV, Ustream, and other systems that are moderate quality. It's all there right now. Get that link out to everyone you know. Since we started the show an hour and a half ago, we've raised an additional $20,000. It's up to $74,000 right now. We need to go all the way to the top, $500,000 to hire the 4 or 5 people and to buy that equipment and to not have to eat into our emergency reserve. Frankly, to expand everything like I've done, I've had to eat into our reserves where this company barely has any reserves now, which I don't like to do. But everything's coming down right now, and it's just going to get crazier. So the banks can't be trusted. So instead of having 4 or 5 months of backup, we've got like 2 months of backup. So I wasn't even going to do a money bomb until I was being attacked a few months ago, and I realized, the system is attacking me for doing this because they're scared of it. We should do this, but I'm going to shut up now and try to give Joel Skousen the floor, joining us from his home via video Skype. Joel Skousen, again, fighter pilot, a decorated, I think a Marine Corps fighter pilot. I haven't scanned over his whole bio today. And worked in so many areas. His, of course, uncle, Cleon Skousen, wrote really some of the original handbooks that did accurately map what the globalists were up to, this whole crony anti-free market system. But, Joel, you were getting to the critical juncture here that you believe they are. I mean, obviously, they're flaunting it publicly. So this isn't just some political saber rattling to make Iran back off. I mean, is that what you're saying? They're about to fuel the reactors in the next 2 weeks. When would you expect, and from your sources, what are you hearing is going to happen in the strike? My family, others, and of course, public sources as well have said the U.S. is planning that once Iran is hit, to, quote, back it up, as you said, finish it off out of Kuwait. Give us your details on that, and then from bad to worse, the ramifications of this. What what you think is going to unwind and why the global elite are doing this? Is it more about a diversion for the new Bank of the World, Vatican calling for Bank of the World, and calling for a global currency? I mean, as you said, the quickening is happening, but you've said you believe it really gets crazy in the next 10 years out. So if this is just a birth pain, my God, what's coming next? So kind of cover that spectrum. You've got the floor.